because I only have to do one thing, and that's this. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. And this is fine. We're good. We good. Hey, welcome tonight to the Toronto Beer Podcast with me, Chris Schreier, your host, and two of my good buddies from Great Lakes, trying to get my fingers in the right spot. Don't know how this is actually going to look in the end product, but the gentleman wearing the hat forwards, you may know as Mr. Troy Birch. I'll get your official title in a second. And then with the backwards cap, easy to tell the difference, Fabian. I'll also get your official title in a second. So let's do that right now. Troy, your marketing or something like that?
Yeah, a little bit of everything. No, marketing and can't even speak. Marketing and communications manager. It has been a long day today, Chris.
It's perfect when the communications manager can't say the word communications. And then Fabian, I
did that somewhere else too, Chris. I literally did that like 2 weeks ago. They said, "What do you do at the brewery?" I was like, "I'm marketing."
Yeah. I speak in
say
tongues.
That 3 times twice.
I saw Ben Johnson was dishing on you because you shared an old report card, and one of your weakest marks that year was communications. Hey, to be fair, it was still like an 84, so Ben can suck an egg. Yeah. Okay, and Fabian, you do art and design. Is that the idea?
That's correct. The official title, I think, would be creative director, but none of us really know what that means.
I think your business card actually says art director there, buddy.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, art director.
Art director's a good title.
Yeah. Sounds
it's a well-deserved title.
I had this problem with my church because I still am doing all of the video production for when we were in person, but sharing the videos digitally. And now that we're back on Zoom, like I'm just kind of running all the buttons behind the scene. And they kept calling me their media specialist, their media specialist. And I was like, that just sounds awful. And so I asked if they would call me the executive producer, and they said no. I'm just checking something here. Actually, let's do this for a second. I'm going to stop this for a second because I'm worried. Oh, no, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to throw you guys on as, can I make you a co-host? I'm just worried that it doesn't look like you guys are getting filmed. I just made you the spotlight. If I'm going to add, and then can I add myself? No, I can't add myself. Well, that'd be okay. If this, I don't know what I'm doing with this. Let's hope. Otherwise, this might just be audio, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm glad we're in capable hands.
I've never recorded more than one other person on Zoom, and normally I get the
recording. Yeah, Chris, if you put it on, if you do start over and put it on gallery.
So it was
gallery view.
It was to start with.
Yeah, it should. It'll capture the whole.
It will. All right, that's good. That's what I assumed. It's just normally when I do these for church, I get recording logos next to everybody in the participants that are getting recorded. Yeah. And right now I'm not, but anyway, we'll go with that. Yeah. Okay. So
can we start over again? And we can start the marketing and communications part again.
Absolutely not.
Oh, wow.
Absolutely not.
No, that's got to stay in. Hey, we got the whatever view where whoever's talking gets the thing. That's okay. The two.
You're rocking the I think they call that speaker view versus gallery view. Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, you would almost think I'd never done this before instead of doing it literally every week for the past 3 months. Anyway, so hey, well, let's first of all, the way we normally start the Toronto Beer Podcast, we talk about what we're drinking. So, and it's funny, I think this was before we started recording. I noticed we're all drinking the same thing, which is really going to simplify the system. So I've got right here, this is, of course, a Canuck Pale Ale. Fabian, Troy's got his, hold him high.
Yeah.
Fabian's not going fancy. He's sucking it right out of the can. I was saying to Fabian, I wasn't sure if there's anything specific you wanted me to drink or not, but...
No, we have like 20 beers available right now at the retail store and on our... I'm having a hard time tonight, guys, on our online shop. But yeah, we have a bunch to choose from. So I think you got a nice mix pack there the other day, Chris.
I got a very delightful mix pack, and I'm very excited about it. So thank you very kindly. I did notice, I don't know if you can see what shirt I'm wearing here, but
Oh, yeah, throwback doubles.
oh
Nice.
yeah, that's the old timery. None of that right now, unfortunately, but that did make an appearance very recently, didn't it? That was back through Christmas, was it?
Oh, we had it back at Halloween. We bring it back every year, just around Thanksgiving and last until Halloween.
It's really hard to keep track of seasons right now, so I have no idea. Especially because I was off all winter.
The winter.
I got
We're
that.
still in the winter, man. We're still in the winter.
No, it's cold out there today. So
Well, you might have been confused about that on account of you jumping in the lake all the time these days.
I do tend to jump in the lake a little bit. Once a week, guys. Once a week. Okay, let's. So first of all, Canuck, everyone should know. I think listening to this pod, this is the pale ale in the province. I think it's fair to say. Certainly this was revolutionary when you guys dropped it, and I think it's still kicking some serious butt. I saw you guys have posted something, Troy, about like, is it hazier than it used to be? Did I see this right?
Yeah, we get a lot of questions about it. It's our number one beer. It's across the province. And so we get a lot of correspondence, whether it be DMs, emails, text, whatever. And people ask, what have you changed with Canuck over the years? And the simple answer is really nothing. We've tweaked the hops here and there, but very minor. But a couple of years ago, Mike Lackey, the figurehead of the brewing.
You can just say Lackey. We know.
Lackey.
Yeah.
He felt like it had more body and more flavor if we didn't filter it. But at the time we were. So recently with the centrifuge we said, you know what, let's just skip that. Let's bypass it and let's do it as it's meant to be and as we enjoy it. So that's the simple answer. It is hazier, but there's no London fog yeast added to it. It's the same recipe. It's just we're not going through that filtration process.
So you do centrifuge it then as opposed to filter, yeah?
Yeah.
That's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm not asking for specifics. I know minor hop tweaks as years change and crops change and stuff like that. But it's still more or less you're hitting the same profiles as that old bomber with the skis on it. Not allowed to get away with that.
I think if we drank that and then this version, they would be two different beers. But yeah, Simcoe came into the scene around 2010-ish, but it really made a stamp on Canuck in like the 2013-14. And it's a pretty heavy Simcoe beer.
That's cool. Fabian, your side of the equation, what do we call that style now that Gordy's being represented as? I feel like it's not quite comic book, is it? It's
oh no, I don't know. It's if you have a opportunity to edit this and show like the original guy on the log drawing compared to now, it's evoled
a lot. Yeah, I mean it's very similar, but it's changed quite a bit. Yeah.
And this one's more along the lines of our rebrand lately. We've redone everything, and it we just found an opportunity to kind of simplify the look, and just clean it up. I don't do auto trace anymore on the illustrator's drawings like I used to do with Garnet's and with Patrick's. Now I actually manually trace everything. Oh, yeah. Every line he draws, like go through it all with the pen tool, and just to make the lines more clean and flowing. And then, and I remove a lot of cross hatching that cartoonists tend to put in there.
So what you're telling me is you're responsible for Gordy's generous booty?
No, Patrick drew that. I just rounded it off nicely.
Yeah, I remember at one point it was almost more like it looked like an etching more than a cartoon. And I feel like, and this isn't a criticism, I think it's a good thing. You're moving away from a lot of textures and into a lot more kind of monocolors, and then using the more kind of like comic strip style texturing in the as opposed to pen work, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. There's more of a focus on primary colors first and foremost.
Yeah.
And that goes along really well with the thick flowing black lines. And as you mentioned, there's some kind of timeless yet somewhat forgotten pop art kind of techniques applied to it, you know.
It feels like, it doesn't feel like you've tapped vintage, but it's got sort of like an almost kind of 60s kind of feel to it somehow in terms of the coloration and stuff.
But 60s modern, you know, like
yeah, exactly. Like not like actually taken out of an Archie comic, but like like an homage or something.
And he's cleaned up. He's on his way to a dance or something like that. He's coming in from the bush now.
Gordy, yeah, he has a smile on his face, you know, and he's settled down over the years.
If you ask any girl in the parish, who's what's the line?
Well, he's coming in from the bush. He you know what he did? He discovered Canuck Pale Ale beforehand. He was just drinking, you know, and now we got him. He's a craft guy.
I like how carefully you stepped away from actually identifying a brand, which I just went to do and was like, no, if Troy didn't, neither will I. Let's not let's not piss anybody off tonight. Super cool. So we're all having that. As an aside, just in case somebody's sleeping under a rock, Canuck, super hop forward, as you say, like Simcoe plays into it big time. I haven't really. Sorry, my wife's making some nuts and bolts right now, and I just got a really big whiff of like sort of a savory. It's like Worcestershire sauce or something, but yeah, like it does all the right things. You get a bit of citrus. It's not quite tropically, maybe a little. Yeah, I see you've got good lace, and I keep moving my glass, so I don't. But yeah, and you get a bit of that piney kind of Simcoe thing going, but it's not like crazy aggressively hoppy. It's not squeaky at all. It's very delicate in your mouth in a way. But I can totally remember when this was like, whoa, what did I just have, man?
The IBUs have tamed quite significantly over the years, where we used to say it was in the 40 to 45 range. Then we moved down to 35, but that's conservative. It's probably around the 25 to 30 mark now. A lot of the hops are going into Whirlpool and secondary, like maybe 5% at the most would be going into kettle.
Yeah, I was going to say, because my expectation, one of the changes, even if the recipe hasn't really changed too much, is there's such a bigger understanding of the usage of hops now. And like, gone are the days of 60-minute IPA clones, basically.
Well, to do a little humble brag here for Lackey and the brewing team, no one was doing that back in 2010, 2012 in Ontario. And we really, with our IPAs and the early iterations of My Bitter Wife and Octopus Wants to Fight and Lake Effect, even for that, we started throwing a lot in secondary. So it's just because we like to drink them that way too.
I got to tell you, I've told this story before. I probably told it on the podcast before, but I remember it was like maybe it might have been the second of, do you remember they used to do the IPA Showdown or whatever it was called at Volo?
Volo, yep.
And it was still at Volo whenever it was happening. It was casks. And so they had them set out. And I remember, I feel like there was 16 beers, I think. And it was the first time I had Duggan's number 9. And I'm trying to remember some of the other beers that were there, but I vividly remember I was still back in like my goody beer two shoes good days. So I think I probably brought my own pen and stuff like that, you know, and there was the scorecard. And so I was doing it blind, like you'd mark them blind, and I was doing it blind. They were all just numbered. And I remember I was like, okay, that one, and I was making, giving it scores and descriptors and all that stuff. And I was probably 8 or 9 in, and you set like a benchmark in your brain, you know what I mean? And you're kind of marking around that benchmark. And then I had one literally, I went, what, and I took a sip and I was like, shit, that's Karma Citra. And I was like, I literally need to move that this way. And I had to go back through all these other beers and like subtract marks off, because I'm like, I can't give it 10s. Like I can't just throw 10s across the board. It doesn't work that way. But I remember thinking, and I had no knowledge of like the function of brewing at that point. Hadn't done any home brewing, hadn't done any collabs, anything like that. And I remember thinking, they've got to be doing something different. Like this isn't just a better recipe. There's something different happening right here that's dynamically changing the beer. And it was, night and day.
I've done that. I've done the IPA challenge at Volo before, and so I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you hit a beer when you know exactly what that one is, and you're like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, you and I go way back to the blogging days.
I feel like I should have done an introduction. Yeah.
And I was a judge for many years at Volo for the Cast Festival or the IPA Challenge. And I can remember the same thing that you're saying. And I think it was My Bitter Wife in 2010 or 11 that won, or it came in second. But I remember some of the IPAs back then going, like, we don't have these in Ontario. And all of a sudden we had some, and we had a little bit more, but no one was doing them year round. And we didn't even launch a year-round IPA until 2018, which is, with Octopus Wants to Fight. But I can remember some of those early IPAs that Lackey was putting out, that Half Nelson back in the day.
Yeah, I remember that one too. Yeah.
Those ones that people don't like, we New Anglicized them.
Well, didn't Canucklehead win?
Canucklehead was a cask beer.
So it's cask version of Canuck.
That's
Canuck with double dry hopped. And,
yeah.
So those were the great days of experimentation.
Yeah.
Well, I remember the Project X nights too, and like you never really knew. Hey, actually, that's not true. You guys would normally at least give some promotion, like, oh, we're tapping these 3 or whatever, but like you never really kind of knew what you're getting yourself into, and you get there, and like sometimes it'd be like, oh, that's bolts, and other times you'd be like, that one was. Yeah.
Well, the one I remember before my time with Grey Lakes is they did the Polish sausage beer, and it was garlic and peppers, and
what was the gummy bears one? The two.
They did a gummy bear one in the cask that actually melted in the summer.
Yeah,
and the gummy bears then coagulated and formed a big blockage and
clogged the spig and everything. Yeah.
No, I remember the Polish sausage lager because that was a Project X. I remember, and it was like, I think it was right before Christmas because I was playing hockey and it was a Friday night that time because it was normally, I think, a Thursday. And it was, I think, pre-Christmas, they did it on a Friday, and I was going to hockey. And so I drove to Great Lakes. Guys, I was responsible. Okay. I had a couple of small sample glasses of beer, hung out with Lackey a bit. But I remember I was like, I got to try this Polish sausage lager. And he was like, no, you don't. And I was like, no, come on, like, give me a glass. And he was like, you really don't want this, man. He's like, it's not good. And I was like, come on, give me some. So he gave me like a little glass and I took a sip and I was like, you're not wrong. And I was like, if this were soured, it would almost taste like pickle brine. And he was like, would that have made it better? And I was like, no, but it would be a thing. Like, that would be a thing. And literally he was like, dump buckets right here. And he like pointed below the cask. So I dumped out the rest and he gave me a fresh glass of something.
And that wasn't even the worst beer he's ever done. He did the Baby Vomit Supreme.
I remember that too.
We found bottles of it a couple years ago, our 30th anniversary, so 2017, and we had a couple people from another brewery over, and we popped a couple bottles, and the smell in the brew house, it went all across the brew house, and it was something else. But yeah, those were the good old days. Like,
when you had the pickle brine idea,
throw something at the wall.
Yeah, the pickle brine idea. I bet you Ben Johnson was behind a curtain going, he's lost his mind, and I'm reaping the benefits.
Exactly. So hey, really quick,
we did it. Oh, just
that he did the build. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you know what I just remembered? Speaking of beers that Mike made that were of questionable.
Oh my God, you have one,
dude! Look at what's going on in here. Can you see all that sediment? I'm scared to open it.
I wouldn't open it now. How do you even have that?
I got this. I think before you worked for the company.
Oh my God, no! That was the last time we did that. Would have been.
That's in the old school 40 bottle though.
That's an old English.
It's in the OE bottle, repurposed, and it came in a brown paper bag.
Oh dear.
That just had it had I guess it was DBM. It just said DBM in Sharpie. And I'm pretty sure
bag McQuag, or malt liquor for fine gentlemen.
The paper bag has long since gone the way of the buffalo. but that's moved house with me. If you say 2006, it
was the
moved house
last
with me at
time,
least
probably.
8 years or 8 times. I mean,
Yeah, that was probably the last time that we did it. We used to take that beer to tap takeovers.
right.
And then we quit doing it because it just got so messy. So we'd actually pass the bottle. So it's hard to imagine now COVID times, whatever, right? But,
I remember Bobo doing that. He would break one out and crack it and then just pass it around and people would just be slugging off of it.
yeah, we took it to the Woolwich Arrow in Guelph. The last time we had it, we did it for one of our tap takeovers. And we took a case. So we had 12 bottles and we literally passed them around the entire establishment. And
What
you
year
had to
was
drink it till the end. It was like 2015, 16 was the last year we did it.
Yeah.
And needless to say, there's some pretty amazing stories that transpired because of that.
That's amazing.
That not a lot of people remember.
No.
So
And on that, I'm just going to take a break for a second, guys. I need another beer. And unlike Chris, I don't have a 7-year-old malt liquor beside me. It's like, 1 second.
or a beer fridge within arm's reach of your chair. I was going to say,
right.
I kind of buried the lead on this. I got really excited. We were already kind of talking beforehand, but just in case people are wondering, the reason why we're doing this, so for one, it's pre-recorded, which you might have noticed because we're not doing this live. And for two, like, okay, so why are Fabian and Troy on the show tonight? And it's because, of course, Great Lakes has got an anniversary coming up. You guys are putting a ton of emphasis this week now. This is, you might not know this, guys, but it's Monday
Today is Wednesday, dude.
No, Troy, if you're watching this at home, it's at least Monday. I'm trying to do the math right here.
Troy just exposed the business, damn it.
I can't believe you gave the way. But so that's why they're here chatting. And then funny enough, when Troy and I were chatting about possibly doing this, I said, look, everybody is like, oh, what's Lackey doing? Blah, 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 blah. Lackey's a great dude and I like him. But I was like, Ben just had him on the pod. Like, let's do something a little different. And he was like, what about me and Fabian? This is what Troy said. I said, actually, that's really perfect because I've actually known you both outside of Great Lakes for quite a long time. Fabian a little bit longer, but not a whole lot more. But just by way of introduction, because you guys gave your official positions at Great Lakes.
I tried to anyway. I tried to.
Yeah, gibbity boo. But no, Troy and I first met because Troy used to have a blog that I can't even tell you the name of anymore, the Ontario Beer Blog or something like that.
The first name was the Great Canadian Pubs and Beer Blog.
Great Canadian Pubs and Beer Blog. That's right.
And it turned into Great Canadian Beer Blog.
Yeah, that's right.
Because it was a national beer blog at the time.
Yeah, because there was very little happening nationally, so it didn't take much to cover.
I think I was the first person doing an actual truly national, and I had done some work for Taps Media at the time too. So I was literally traveling the country. So
yeah. And so we met because I started a blog. I actually started it. Not that I mean, I was interested in beer, but the main reason why I started it is I wanted to learn how to build WordPress based sites. Cause at the time I was a freelance web developer and that's how I did it was, hey, Troy, yeah, there you go. I was going to say you're rocking a bit of a foam stash. So I built a beer blog and then I started using it. But then what was crazy was without much effort, people found it. And then I kind of had to start doing a bit more. And one of the first people I reached out to, of course, was you, Troy. And you very generously, I will say, you got me on the LCBO sample panel list. Like you took me to events, you introduced me to tons of people. And literally probably like at least a year or two's worth of pounding the pavement work. And Troy turned it around for me in about a week or two. So that was something. And then, of course, I don't really blog anymore. I do some stuff on Insta. I do this, but we've both kind of found our own streams and that's good. And then Fabian, of course, and I used to work together at Castro's Lounge where we both cooked we probably cooked together for what, maybe 2 years, Fabs?
Maybe 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, a year and a half, 2 years, something like that.
I think I was there a total of 3 or 4 years and you came in on the second or third
kind of back half.
And then you took over buying beer.
Yeah. So don't do too much of that these days. We were saying off there before we've both kind of made ourselves effectively redundant. And of course, COVID's made us completely redundant. So yeah, but still, I'm still involved there. I'm still involved. That's how, when people ask me what my involvement is, I go, I'm involved.
I'm involved.
Mhm.
I'm involved. But yeah, so I've known both of you for, well, I mean, Fabian, when I was working at Castro's with you, I remember I had an ultrasound picture of my son Ben slapped up on one of the walls. And Ben's now 12. He'll be 13
That's
in
kind of
August.
that's
So it's been a
kinda
minute.
why I asked you before off air the age of Ben.
Yeah, it's been that long.
Wondering, like,
It's been
in
13,
reference
14.
to,
Yeah,
yes,
years.
The
Yeah.
time goes, eh?
Time flies. But anyway, so
Like the horses over the hills.
that's right. But so that's why I have these two fine young, not so young, like myself, gentlemen on tonight. So to get to that now, because that is why we're here, the anniversary coming down the pike is 34.
34,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
34.
right. Yeah. And
It's hard to imagine that Great Lakes, literally as a company, is 4 years younger than I am right now. It's to think when, you know, I'm running around at 4 years old and a brewery is starting in Ontario. And look at us now.
Look at
Yeah,
us
so 34.
now.
Look at
Yeah.
us now.
And sorry, I'm getting another beer. Actually, wait, let me ask it a question, and then I'll get the beer. If that's good.
While it's being answered.
Exactly, because I can still hear. I just don't have to be looking while I'm doing that, because I want to go after one of those bursts next. I think.
The magic of radio.
Oh, let me tell you, guys, it's not even Monday right now. What I was gonna say is, so because of this, we're now allowed to talk about the Brew Pub. Who I'm assuming, Troy, you want to grab the lead on this, but go for it, Fabian, if you want to dive in. Give us the foundation, the basic info on the Brew Pub in downtown Toronto.
Yeah, Fabian, you can talk about the art, because I haven't told Fabian this, even though I saw him from a distance today. We have been getting a lot of love for the new art that we've created for the Brew Pub. So yeah, we went live today with the announcement. Some people have said it's one of the worst kept secrets, and maybe industry wise, but we officially announced we're opening, and the goal is for the fall of 2021. So this fall at 11 Lower Jarvis, which is Queens Quay and Lower Jarvis on the north side. So we're not actually on the water, but we're pretty damn close. And a lot of people, a lot of questions, like we've received a lot of feedback today, and it's been one of those invigorating days where everyone said, you know, congratulations, this is exciting. And then why are you guys doing this now?
Because you signed the lease 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years ago, you got it. Yeah. So in 2018, we looked at a lot of places, and Peter, the owner of Great Lakes, had looked at a lot of places before. And this is what he says is 20 years in the making. He's always wanted to do something, and it just felt like the time was right just after our 30th anniversary in 2017. So we found the spot. He signed the lease. Then there was some delays in the development as normal, and then COVID hit, so more delays. We just got the keys on the 11th of January. So we thought, why not just go live now? Let's make the announcement now. Let's get some video put together, and let's give everyone the news. 6,000 square feet, units 5 to 8. We're going to have 20 taps, a huge retail footprint with taps in the retail store, 20 feet of cold fridge, backloaded fridge, which to consumers, that might not be a cool thing, but to people in the industry, 20 feet of backloaded fridge.
You know what
awesome.
I'm talking about, eh, Chris? Yeah.
I could tell you stories, but yeah.
For the amount of retail we do in Etobicoke, we have actual fridges. It's 2 cases per row, and it's just like, oh my God, someone will walk in and go, I'll buy 4 cases of Canuck. And then you got to empty the fridge, and then anyway, it's just so it's just north of Sugar Beach. We're really excited, and the brewers, we're going to have a rotating schedule of brewers coming in. So 1 week, Nick Perry will get to own the show down there, brewing his English style beers, and then next week we'll have Griff down there, Griff Tobe, doing whatever he wants to do. And so all the brewers will have their own personality and stamp on their beers. We're going to do a lot of different food options, which will pair with the beer because we take that stuff seriously. And at the end of the day, it's just going to be a really chill, fun vibe going on down there in a pretty cool, wide open, airy brew pub.
That's super cool. And so I obviously used to spend a lot of time right across the road there, but it's a condo going in, right? So you got a couple of floors above you.
A couple, I think, 34 in that tower.
Yeah.
And so we're joined by, there's a George Brown campus there. There's OCAD has offices. There's a French university, the Remix Project, which I can't wait to learn more about these guys. But what they do is they help underprivileged and marginalized kids and groups.
Tell Jules we say what's up.
And they get them in to do different art projects, artscapes there. So we're really excited about moving in and getting to know the neighbors.
Super cool. Yeah. Fabian, you want to talk a little bit about getting back on your track? I actually had a question I was going to ask you about kind of when we were talking about the labeling and then we got sidetracked. But it had more to do with this sense you were saying, like updating and keeping it in line. And of course, there's a period there, and no offense, Troy, but there was a period there when Great Lakes' labeling was a little bit all over the map. There were a couple that were like this. There was 100%. A couple like that. Yeah.
That was pre-Troy, pre-me.
Yeah. And it feels like you've done a real brought kind of a, maybe a voice isn't quite the right word, but there's a unifying kind of theory. So, I mean, the first question I was going to ask is, do you have a style guide you work to now? Like, do you have an overarching plan, or do you kind of drop and drag things in?
Well, all three of those things kind of. Really what makes the unification work is the template, right? So you have the main panel with the logo on the top left, and then the character and or the illustration, and you have the bands that you're dragging your fingers across right now, and thank you, Julie.
Hi, Julie. I don't know if you can hear because I know Fabian's on the headset, but hello, little sign language. Thank you for giving him the beer.
Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much the unifying factor. And what goes on in the middle is the illustration and then the colors differentiate each brand.
Yep.
But the goal obviously is to be able to see it out of the corner of your eye in the LCBO and say, hey, here's a Great Lakes beer.
Exactly. That's what I was gonna say. The key is if it isn't shelved like that, but instead it's shelved more like that, you still kind of go,
you still know what it is. Yeah.
So is there gonna be, have you been asked to pick out paint swatches and bric-a-brac for the shelves?
Well, I do have my Pantone solid and coated and uncoated swatches right here.
Very important for a designer to keep the Pantone close to hand.
And and I have my kick-ass convex monitor over here, and whatever. It's the thing that's making me really shiny right now, actually.
I found that if I put a Word document on my right screen, the white gives a really nice color.
You'll get that lighting. Yeah,
it's perfect. Yeah. It's better than a ring light.
Yeah, even better. Yeah.
But so are you guys doing any mural work at the new spot? Is there going to be like big Gordy on the door?
No, there's basically like with the Brew Pub branding, there's kind of a unifying set of branding icons, iconography, and everything like that. So it'll tie in nicely. It's the number one challenge was when designing the logos and the iconography for the brew pub was to not stray too far from what we are, while at the same time fitting into the new neighborhood, right? So and I think we achieved that, and And then of course the other one was how to create a connection with a yet to be established community, which is really important. And it turns out that's a kind of a no-brainer, because that's what we do well anyway with all our community efforts and everything we do, and so basically I started with the logo from the same kind of vision that the city's urban planning for the precinct was, in that the Toronto waterfront revitalization program was all about, with their principles about architecture, urban design, and landscape architecture and all those things. So lots of open spaces, building height zones. So the closer you are to the water, the more your height is restricted. And that's designed to maximize the connectivity with the main feature of the thing, which is the lake, the water,
So what I was saying today too with the announcement, or what I was saying last week with the announcement, was
last Wednesday
with the announcement that the logo for the Brew Pub looks pretty simple. It looks like, oh, that didn't take a lot of work, and it's clean, and it's simple. But Fabian took a long time on it, and I'm not saying that as a negative thing. I'm saying he put in the time and effort and the care and attention that we really wanted. And his long answer there was he invested a lot, and I love it. The brewery loves it, and it really does tie in. And I was saying earlier, all the ingredients that he's put into that logo for the Brew Pub, the water, the malt or the wheat, and the hops, and then it's encased by a circle. It literally is talking about, it's bringing all the ingredients in, but that circle emphasizes community. And so it's a killer logo, and he did a really good job on it. To answer your question too, for murals inside the Brew Pub, we're gonna have some pretty kick-ass art on the walls, much like we have at the brewery, where we have the giant octopus and some different murals inside. So we're going to be working, hopefully, without divulging any secrets that don't happen, with a street artist that's out in Etobicoke, who's going to come in and do some take our art and then make it have his flair to it. So it's going to be pretty vivid. The Brew Pub itself is black and white. Those are the colors for the logo, and that's what we want to go with, a clean approach to it. And just like Fabian's sweatshirt that he's wearing tonight, the GLB, we've always been a blue and white brewery, but we're really digging the black and white kind of a clean approach right now.
Super cool. I love it. It's interesting. I was thinking about, I know it's not to say that I don't think there's been intention. There's been intention, but the nature of the way that the retail and the I guess bottle shop space at Etobicoke, it's been very
slow to evolve.
Slow, and in steps.
So I don't know when the last time you were there, but we've actually painted the walls. So it's now white when you go into the brewery. It's not 1950s wood paneling that we tried to cover up as best we could. But the brewery was built in the 1950s. It won an actual Massey Award for architect.
Really?
It was a Fabergé textiles, perfume.
I was about to ask what it was before it was a brewery. So
and so in the parking lot on the east side, where people park to go into a retail store, there was a reflection pond shining the building, all glass. It would shine off the reflection pond. Huh. The original windows in the retail store from the 1950s are still the ones that are there today. So it's something that if Peter was to make a big investment, it would, we'd have to do a major redo of the inside space.
Well, and part of it, I think, I know, like, you've done stuff, because I remember where the Project X thing used to be. That room's been blown open now. It's part of the
pre-COVID. It turned into the Canuck lounge, so we would host birthdays, weddings, bar mitzvahs, you name it, any kind of event. We had 1-year-old birthday parties inside there. We had some wedding receptions. We had trivia, and we had some food in there. And then COVID hit, and now if you walk in that room now, it's where we store our malt.
But I was thinking the other thing, actually, to be honest with you, I don't even know if this problem has been remedied. But I recall not too distant past, the nearest bathroom from the retail store was the staff bathrooms in the office space. Yeah. But what's interesting about that, and where I wanted to go with this, thinking about what the building had been before, my perception had been that it was like a 1950s ad place that maybe had well, it's funny, textile was the first thing I thought, or maybe not textile manufacturing so much as like fashion, like an actual assembly space. But the reason why is because you've got that, I think of it always as like high school hallway flooring.
And then those terrazzo floor.
Yeah. The stairs that are like the open, like
with the window and everything. And it's like,
it's a very
you almost expect to hear xylophone jazz playing. And
exactly though. Right. But it just had this vibe of like, I mean, obviously I knew it hadn't been a brewery its whole life. But yeah, just like that, that's interesting that's what that building was. That's exactly what I would have guessed. Would have been, something in like the fashion-y designing world. That's interesting. But yeah, what I was trying to get to with all that was like, whether you were going to make them distinctly different or if you're going to try and unify the feeling across the two places. And it sounds like the latter. Yeah.
The latter, with some of the Etobicoke, not our Etobicoke, but the brand, some of the brand will be showcased inside the brew pub, and that will be our characters coming to life. And maybe not even characters, but brand elements will be coming to life on surface walls and areas.
I was gonna say, definitely the elements, like with the Brew Pub logo and our traditional newer logo. I don't even know, but anyways, the most important thing are the elements, right? The ingredients, the beer ingredients, and that's what ties us in, as well as the whole philosophy of the brewery, with keeping in with the community.
Yeah. So I'm going to touch on the anniversary celebrations happening this week.
This week on Friday.
But before we do that, I got a more kind of general question. I think, Troy, this is going to hit a little bit more on your domain, but Fabian, by all means, jump in. What kind of conversations have you been having around, like, in terms of staff and maybe intra-brewery with other brewers? I mean, I know we don't know, but what are you planning for in terms of future stuff, in terms of things like events or connecting? You guys, a lot of the breweries, but you guys especially have done a really good job staying present and staying relevant with social media, still running familiar contests like the lacing contest and stuff like that. But obviously, like the game board is completely different now, within reason. I know I'm really kind of throwing you on the spot here, but what sorts of things are you thinking what does 2022 look like to be a brewer in Ontario, do you think?
Well, Fabian said it numerous times, and I've alluded to it as well, but to give a marketing answer, it's community. We literally rely on the community, and we engage in the community. We do a weekly newsletter, and it might not seem like the biggest thing in the world to have a newsletter in today's market, but the feedback we get from every single newsletter, we can see what people are buying and when they're buying, and the feedback they give us. So, when's this beer coming out? The brewers literally working nonstop to produce one-offs because people want that alongside their Canucks and their Burst and their Haze Momas and Octopus beers. So those are the two main things I would say is we stay connected to the community through a weekly newsletter, social media, but having the beers being released. We shut down a retail store in March 2020. We didn't open it until October. So we were allowed to reopen as an essential business. We chose not to. We chose to do curbside, and then we chose to do a garage door. You come to the garage door, but the day we opened the doors to have people come back inside, 4 people at a time, the smiles, the love, the encouragement, it kickstarted everything again. When it comes to events, we have no plans right now. We're not even looking ahead to say, and with respect to people like Les Murray and Toronto Festival of Beer and stuff like that, we can't plan for that right now.
And our licensees.
And well, I'm going to get to that. Yeah, I was going to get to that second. But the events first is both internally and externally. We're not aiming. And we're not planning for those right now. We're planning on retail store, LCBO, and getting the beer from our house to your house, next day delivery. So I think the short or the long answer is we're going to continue with home delivery at both locations. We'll be delivering. We're going to stay ultra local. We do get a lot of flack for not offering province-wide shipping. It's probably one of the most commonly asked questions that we get on a weekly basis, and it's literally because we want the product to stay as close to home as possible, but we're also running out of product. Where if we started to open up to Kingston and Kitchener-Waterloo, we would be shorting our LCBO run, and at the same time, we're trying to get our LCBO program more beefed up so that we can have, like right now, Fabian, I think we have 10 beers at the LCBO.
Yeah.
As of
Isn't that many, eh?
Yeah.
Well, right now, yeah, it's sweet.
10
spot.
SKUs right now, and it's crazy. It's like,
and they're fresh. That's the key thing, that we're still focused on that freshness. And so again, long answer, Chris. 2020.
That's what we want. Long answers.
Yeah. 2022.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just we're going to focus on our community, just continuously pumping out volume and working with the community. We just signed on today again. Well, we didn't sign on, but we agreed to do another round of beers and fundraising for the Jean Augustine's Center. The Jean Augustine Center for Young Women's Empowerment. And so we had a meeting with them today, and we just signed on to do another big fundraising drive with them in May. We're going to be doing the Autism Awareness Month again with Shining Through Centers, which will be donating a lot of money through the proceeds of a beer we do with them. Daily Bread Food Bank. So again, focusing on our neighbors and community and keeping it close to home. Again, that's always been the way. Just to cap off what Troy was saying, it's always been the way. Like with Great Lakes, it's what connection with the community, whether it's the Franken Horner Center or Daily Bread or Shining Through Center for Autism and everything. It's always been our thing to sorry, I had a burp there. That for me as a designer makes it easy for me to come to something with an approach like the Brew Pub logo or
nice. Yeah.
Back to that,
we've never been a brewery really either to talk about that either, Chris. We normally just do it and then we move on, right? We do the next one.
Yep.
And I think beer now has become it's more in the spotlight on what you're doing. It's not what you're brewing, it's what you're doing too. It's so totally. It's humbly arrogant for me to say this on behalf of the brewery, but we've always been doing that. We just now need to talk about it a little bit more. And I wouldn't say we need to prove ourselves, but it's sometimes you feel that way. So now we just talk about it a little bit more and showcase what we're doing.
I think the sort of the generous spin to put on it, if I may, is that there's a general desire in the broader kind of consumer population in craft beer to be supporting people who are doing good things. And so it's not so much that you need to prove it, you just need to make it apparent. You know what I mean?
I think on social media, it's like on social media you need to.
And like I say, I'm being a little generous here.
Yeah.
I'm also aware of the cynicism.
Always, though, Chris, and you'll understand this phrase is that we've never let the left hand know what the right hand is doing, and we, we've always just done what we do because that's what we do, and
totally.
And we're part of a neighborhood, and the neighborhood is, whether it's the internet or Etobicoke or East Bayfront or whatever, it's it's always we're part of it.
Yeah, man.
And there's no other way to be.
That's one of the things we train when we train our staff on social media, and it's always you have to be what you are online. You have to be offline, and you have to be offline what you are online. If those two things don't jive, people are going to see right through you. So if you take a guy like Barry Pletch and you see what he does on social media, he's the exact same person off of social media.
Oh yeah. No, I disagree. I think he actually turns it down a little bit on social media.
He does.
Turns it down on social. I think he turns it up on social.
No, I feel like you're not getting the
down on social.
You're not getting the full Barry. Full Barry is
full Barry is a thing.
Yeah.
That sounds like a name, Fabian. I think we just Chris just came up with a name for a fruit beer.
The full Barry.
Hey, full Barry, I did not say it was a fruit beer, man.
No,
that was all Troy.
As in Barry.
Oh, with an E.
Yeah.
Classic bet. Okay, so I've just cracked an Octopus. Love it. Don't even need to talk about it. Done it before. Beautiful IPA. Throw me your 34th anniversary deets, and then we'll dust our hands.
You got that new can there? Let's see it.
Okay, if you want to talk about the can, I think 98% of it is significantly better, but I do have one complaint.
What?
I like the anatomical eyes.
Oh yeah. You mentioned that on
the social media,
on the interweb.
Everything else is better, but I liked the barred pupils on the eyes. But hey, you can't please everybody.
You know what my comment on that is, Chris, and we've heard it from a couple people, is the eyes on the new Octopus give him, our pet Octo, it brings them together. It's actually it's not a person, but it's a living thing, and
it gives him a personality. Like he's like shooting a promo at you when he's looking at.
He's real.
I was gonna say he's not real. He's personified. You've added a human. I realize boxing gloves are not a thing an octopus normally wears. So you also, and they don't wear Band-Aids. I saw my octopus teacher. There were no boxing gloves or Band-Aids in that movie, but he's humanized by giving him circular pupils versus the bars. But the bars, speaking of things that are bars, I just hit my printer. The bars were badass. Like they just looked hard.
He's still pissed, though. He is still pissed. He's still angry. Yeah.
No doubt. So, okay, 34th anniversary this Friday.
Yeah.
This Friday. Yes.
This Friday. What do we got coming down the pike? What are we doing?
I'm gonna try to condense this, but it all started with Drunk Pokeroo, Mr. Rob Arsenal, out in Stony Creek. For those of you that don't know Drunk Pokeroo, just Google Drunk Pokeroo. You're gonna find out a lot about him. But he started it. He takes a day off. He started about 5 years ago. He takes a day off work, stays home, and drinks Great Lakes beer all day. And he said, you know what? I just want to celebrate this brewery's birthday. I have a good day. Just have some fun with it. And we really respect that. So this year I called up Rob and I said, listen, man, we're going to take over GLB Day. We're not going to take it over, but we want to use what you started. And the hashtag GLB Day, so follow along. Rob's going to be posting a lot of content throughout the day. We're going to be posting archival images, videos. Probably every half an hour, we're going to have something new on all three of our social channels. We're going to have 5 new beer releases coming out on this Wednesday, at 6:30, so you can get the beers for Thursday.
Not Thursday.
We're gonna have the beers on Thursday.
I know. We're not releasing them on that.
And so we're gonna have, and these are really special beers this time around. We're gonna have Body Double, which is a Belgian double. It's can conditioned, so it's been like 3 months almost that we've been conditioning this beer. We have Zweizegen, which is a Doppelbock. And so that lagered, or that aged for 9 weeks. We have Audrey Hopper making a comeback, our Belgian
Classic.
IPA,
So
with a
delightful.
new look as well too. We have we haven't announced it yet, but we have 3.4 or 34, which is triple, not quite a quadruple IPA coming out. So 11% IPA in short cans.
Similar to 10ish, anyone?
Back in the day. And then Fabian, what's the last one? We have one more that I'm just now blanking on.
I've done so many things in the last week.
I know, right?
I don't even know.
Body Double, Audrey Hopper.
I'm glad I'm not the only person who didn't make notes tonight. This is good.
Yeah. I literally had some earlier, but Absacker. Absacker. How can we?
Oh, of course.
Yeah,
Absacker.
So that's a beer you're going to see a lot more in 2021 and moving forward in 2022. That and Fruit Shop, and we're going to focus a lot on those two beers. But
those are both lagers, right?
Beers, those are one's a Helles and one's a German Pils. Yeah.
Yeah. Absacker's the Helles. Fruit Shoppen's the
Fruit Shoppen is
Troy.
Pils.
Those two unnamed, yet to be named lagers that I've been working on lately. They're not out for a couple of weeks.
They're not for next. They're not for the 34th. No. So
I've been exploring some graphics and stuff, and that's some nice GLB lacing. But
you're gonna win the contest.
there's a couple labels coming out that I'm just like, I'm all giddy about. They tickle me.
I like it when you have a project that feels that way. When you're just like, okay, cool, let's do it. Let's move it out now.
It's an ongoing thing with me, actually. That's why I love working for this company, because it's like everything I'm doing. It's like it's a new thing, you know. So
I'm not sure how much longer we have here, but I will. I wanted to get a little plug in for Fabian if I could, and maybe now's the right opportunity to do so. So
Take it away.
Yeah, Fabian officially joined us as a full-time GLB employee in November 1st. He came on board full-time. He's been with us since 2012. Him and I both joined the company in 2012, me full-time, and he was a freelance doing the new look, the 25th anniversary beers, and then Gordy and Pompous Ass, which is Gordy's Canuck Pale Ale. And in 2019, he invested a little bit more time with us, and we brought him in a little bit more than part-time. But we actually ripped the Band-Aid off and said, okay, man, it's time for you to come in. We need you here 5 days a week. And he has done so many amazing things in the last year with COVID. He's never been busier. He's never been faster. He's developed, I don't even know how many new labels he's done the write-ups for. He's done the artwork for. So all of our Alphabet series, which is all the lagers, Fabian has done all the write-ups. He has done all the artwork for those. A lot of the new brands that we're coming out with, the Karma Simcoes, which I had, that provided that amazing lacing. He's doing a lot more direction on the look and feel of the cans, and offering input and stuff like the Brew Pub and videos where we make announcements. And so I just want to say, I want to give a plug out. He's sitting there right there. I want to get a smile out of him. He's one of the most respected people in Ontario craft beer. And he's done an amazing job with us at Grey Lakes. And like, we're humbled and honored to have him on the team. And I, even through COVID, but not anymore because of the lockdown. But it's a pleasure to drive him to work every day. We're all extenders here. Yeah,
that seems about right. That seems about right. Fabian and I'm trying to think about. I have a story that Fabian and I were involved in, but it throws somebody who's still involved in the restaurant industry under the bus, and I don't want to do that. I'll
find a way, man. Find a way.
I know I'm trying hard here. Fabian and I went to bat together one time, and I didn't know how it was going to turn out.
Oh, yes. I know what you're talking about. But anyways.
I'm not going to say. I'm just going to say, if anybody ever tells you that they think they could make a burger in a microwave that would taste as good as a burger off of a griddle, sometimes you need a person to go to bat with you, and Fabian was that guy. And we prevented what I could only describe as an actual travesty from taking place. I'm not going to say where. I'm not going to say who.
And
again, you know,
and also we are brothers in integrity. So, let's just leave it at that, I guess.
Yep, that's it. So
we already mentioned we worked at Castro's Lounge together earlier. Come on, Dad.
Fabian and I have had our shirts off together at a lot of Christmas parties, but no, I can't echo your exact sentiments, but yeah, no, I would say that was a coup. Landing him is a real coup. So congratulations.
Well, thanks, guys. Thanks to both of you. And then,
Fabian, what would you like to say about yourself now?
But seriously, no, it's been really good, and it's been personal growth wise. It's been amazing doing this, you know, because it's something that I found that is me, you know, that is actually me, you know, that I can, you know, put something into, you know, putting together the studs and the drywall, you know, which I've done before, but I can actually say that this is like something that's me, and it's my signature, and it's something that Great Lakes has allowed me to do. You know,
well, and to be fair,
in a way, not, and that sounds weird, allowed, but
no, but I was actually going to say, and then you said exactly that phrase, and it's true. And Troy can relate to this probably to some extent too, which is Great Lakes does a really good job of bringing in people in a role, and then letting them figure out what their role actually is going to be.
Yes.
Yeah,
right.
100%. A great example is Fabian. Another great example, Matt Bod. We just brought him in from. He was with us years ago on the canning line. And then he went off to bar hop and found himself and made a big name for himself, doing some amazing beers. Now he's our distiller. He's doing all of our gin sodas, the strawberry and lime, the vodka soda. But he's also been very instrumental with the brewing team. And we have a beer coming out. It's out already right now, actually. Export Porter. It went live on last week.
What?
So he
it went live last Thursday or Friday, probably, Fabian.
Thursday, yeah. And he developed that. He helped work on that. One of the best beers of 2021 so far. I know we're only in the start of February, but the Old Dusseldorf, the alt beer, fantastic beer.
Yeah.
And he that was him. He helped create that with Nick Perry. Nick Perry is just an amazing brewer, and we're so lucky to have him at Great Lakes too. And let's go to Belgium for lunch. A saison, a can-conditioned saison. That's Matt's beer. So again, we brought Matt in and just said, you know, he's going to find himself, and he's doing some awesome things with the team. And same with our brewers. Like Nick Perry's doing English style beers. We always get criticized from some people, a couple of particular people about doing all New England beers. But then you look back at our 2020 list and we're like, yeah, that we did a lot. But look at all the other beers we did in the styles. And Nick Perry does English beers and German beers like flawlessly. And we're always we're always trying to improve on those. So we have a great team from every department. It's people are there for fun and excitement, and they put everything into the game.
Yeah, and I'm willing to bet in the past 34 years, there's been people who came in and didn't kind of grab the bull by the horns, and that's fine. Like you find your own thing, you do something else, whatever. But I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I know even most of your stuff, but I know enough people who've been involved with Great Lakes, and that is really the story. Is there's a person, they work with you, either they create their own role, or, and I mean, the first person that popped to mind as I was thinking about like alternative models is Rob Hearn, who was sales rep. I think he did LCBO, right?
He was LCBO rep, yeah.
But he got playing a little bit on the pilot. He was doing some brewing. He ended up going and leaving and starting his own wildly successful homebrew and brewery. It's a little bit of a mix up. But that's, I should say Short Finger Brewing out of Guelph, I think.
Kitchener.
Yeah, it's the same place.
So, Chris, man, literally,
it's north of Steeles,
or west of the river. I don't know.
Right.
years ago, when I was at Taps Beer Magazine, I think it was Marella Amato. She wrote an article called "Where Are They Now," and she tried to find a lot of the Upper Canada people. Like, doesn't matter what role you worked at Upper Canada, because when that brewery closed, they scattered across the province. They started new breweries. They worked for, creamers and marketing, and sales reps went all over the place.
3 of them did okay.
3 of them did. 3 fire, and Sybil, Greg's wife.
That's right. Yeah. We should say 4 of them, really.
Yeah. More than 4 of them did okay.
Yeah,
because everybody's in the industry still, pretty much.
Sybil deserves a lot of love for the growth of that brewery, the Steam Whistle. It's not those 3 guys that she was right there. But it would be interesting to do a Great Lakes one too, because we had a guy named Bad Blake who moved out to Alberta and helped start up OT Brewing Company. We had Mark, who started on our pilot system, but in the retail store too, along with Blake. He's at Goose Island.
With 2 ex-employees grinding at Godspeed.
We have Alistair over at Godspeed, but
and Stephen.
And Stephen Brown over at Godspeed.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. We have Tim Ferryman, who started with us, and then he went over to Town Brewery, and then he was with Mascot. And now he's starting up another new brewery. A lot of people have come through Great Lakes. Emily learned to brew at Great Lakes with Lackey on our pilot system, and now she's brewing, and I'm pretty sure she's still at Forked River in London on their main system. So there's a lot of people who have come through Great Lakes over the years that it was the first step. Ren Navarro, first step. Erica Campbell, first step.
Yep.
Jen Reinhard, first step in beer. So we brought a lot of people in and said, here you go. Here are the reins. What are you going to do for the brewery?
Yeah.
Also, and speaking of Jen Reinhardt, by the way, she's our boss now. Pretty much.
Yeah. Jen runs the retail channel, so she looks after LCBO.
So she needs shit. We got to get it to her.
Yeah. And she's been a very calming presence in our lives, for sure.
But it's interesting to look at, again, I don't want to point fingers and say one person's doing something wrong or this person's doing something right, but you see more, there are definitely breweries that have a more corporate kind of hierarchical thing.
100%.
And if you get hired to do job X, but you realize you want to do job Y, well, you're going to go somewhere else and do job Y. Mm-hmm. And that's not to say, I mean, you listed a variety of people who went on to they easily poured it out. But my perception is, and it's so cheesy, I almost don't even want to say it, but I mean, it's Great Lakes still has a bit of a family vibe to it. And so there's a sense of like, go, like, this is what we do. You're part of the family. And then sometimes you go out into the big world, Yeah.
100%. We have a guy, Alex Whitlow. Everyone knows Whitlow in the industry. He joined us from Moosehead, where he was previously at Steam Whistle, and he became our external events guy. and he put in hours, and he was, he ran dogged in the summer, like just he was everywhere. And then one day he said, you know what, I want to get out of the city. I want to go east. I want to go to like Belleville, Kingston, and I want to be a sales rep. And we said, okay, give us time. We'll make that happen. Whitlow's killing it in the east now. He's doing LCBO because the bar industry right now out that way is still COVID.
Shuttered.
But he's still doing well with, can and bottle sales for bars and restaurants. But he is just killing it out in the east. We brought on a guy, Lee Ecclestone, who has got a name in the craft beer industry as well. He started at F&M, and they went over to Palmies. And when Palmies sold to whoever they sold to, we were like, this guy can represent us in Southwest Ontario. Just a down-to-earth, humble guy who just slays. That's all he does. He just goes out and he's authentic, and it's all about the love of the beer. So guys like Barry and people like, we had Emily, who worked with us from Guelph, and she moved on to Wellington Brewery. But we were like, that's a great fit for you. You deserve to go to Wellington. You're from Guelph, but you did some amazing things for us here, and you opened a lot of doors. So this industry, and when you talk about corporate structure, there are breweries that are bigger than us that have that. There are breweries that are smaller than us that have that.
Exactly.
I don't know, Chris, how many people you've had on here, but I'm on my fourth beer. Fabian's probably, I don't know, Julie's only brought him one, but we're a brewery that likes to drink. We're a brewery that likes to have fun. We're a brewery that tells it as it is.
Julie!
And I think that at the end of the day, to be, again, to use your term, cheesy, is we're just, and I hate this word, but we're authentic. We go into work and we want to do great beer, do better things than we did yesterday, and have fun doing it. And that's what the whole brewery is all about. And is he getting his beer? Oh,
no, I don't think so. Yeah. Now, I love this. I don't think we need to get a cracker out and put it on the floor just yet, but I totally agree. I think, my only wish is that Great Lakes was closer, and it sounds like
we're getting there,
months, man. Yeah, you'll be a bike ride again. I know I can ride to Etobicoke, but seriously?
Yeah.
And then what am I going to do? Put 24 beers on my bike? Forget about it. But
we're working on something for the brew pub. We're working on something for take home, an easier transport.
Oh,
yeah,
interesting.
But again, that's fall 2020.
We'll do this. Yeah, that's fine for now. Yeah. I've kept you guys long enough. It is getting late, and I know, Troy, you've had a heck of a day. Fabian, you probably, same day as any other.
Pretty much, yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I get that. But I will let you guys roll. So just to recap, this Friday, 34th anniversary, all day. There's going to be
all day
social media. Yeah.
And join in on the fun. Just use hashtag GLB Day. That's it.
GLB Day, and show how you're celebrating their 34th birthday. I'm trying to think back to my 34th birthday. I have no memory. So I had kids at that point, so who cares? But yeah, it'll be a good time. I'm not taking the day off, but I will join in a beer once I'm home. Ideally a Great Lakes beer. So yeah, dudes, thanks for coming on, hanging out. Yeah. Really good to see you. I mean, if it turns out that for some reason this is completely unusable and it was all for naught, I had a ball just hanging out and talking.
Well, there you go.
I don't get to sit down and just hang out with buddies and drink beers that much anymore. So
it probably was unusable on a commercial level on account of Troy's ramblings. But
Man, that guy just doesn't shut up.
Yeah,
my ramblings, and I am the marketing and communications
man.
Yes.
Anyway, dudes,
you do, and you'll clean that up.
Hang tight with me for 2 or 3 seconds. I'm going to wrap this, turn off the recording, and then we'll say our goodbyes off air.
All right.
But it is now Monday the somethingth. I'll be back at you next Monday live with a beer in hand. I don't know what, because that's a long way away, more than 7 days. So we'll figure it out. but I will be back. My deepest thanks to my good buddies Fabian and Troy. Happy anniversary, guys, and happy birthday to Great Lakes. Thank you for joining us and for all your fantastic insights. It's been a lot of fun. Managing 3 people, it was right on the edge of my limits. 4 might have put me over the edge, so this was perfect. But I appreciated it nonetheless. And we'll be back in a week. I'll talk at you sometime shortly after 9 p.m. and next Monday.
Cheers, Chris. Thanks.
Cheers.